Hey guys, and welcome to another Factorio Friday Facts discussion video. I am actually here by myself today. This is a pretty low-key Friday Facts, and Will and the other guys didn't really want to join, which is fine. So this one's going to be pretty quick. Not much. Even the title is pretty low-key. The Quiet Days. So they're kind of just bug fixing and doing other minor stuff. But this is kind of interesting because it was a pretty, I think, fairly controversial change that they made very recently in terms of how Steam works. So, realism versus simplicity. Essentially, I'm not going to read all of this, but essentially, how like Steam and nuclear was initially designed is one of the decisions related to this was to show the hot water as steam in the pipes. It was decided that internally the steam would just be water, and the name and look of the fluid would change depending on its temperature. So up until very recently, the latest update, as of when this video is out, steam was just water that was a different temperature and called steam, essentially. And that's why it worked to do like the nuclear build I showed of Zuri's in the workshop, where you would pump water into boilers and it would heat steam, and then you actually just send the steam into the like water input of a heat exchanger for a nuclear setup, and then you would like superheat the steam or whatever. But that no longer works because they've changed steam to actually be a separate entity, which is steam. So it broke a lot of those setups, which is the unfortunate part. But as we go down here and they explain why they did it, I mean, it makes sense. I don't really blame them, I guess. It's a little frustrating that it breaks some setups, but it's bound to happen as they change stuff. So essentially, yeah, what they've done is they've just changed it to Steam and like an actual separate entity. And so the complications, they say, arose that they hadn't really anticipated. The main issue was that while it looked different in the pipes, when you read the contents of a storage tank, it would tell the circuit network that it contains water because it was water. It just had a different icon and temperature potentially. Additionally, the circuit network had no signal to represent steam, so easily setting conditions for managing nuclear power setups was not possible. Right, you can see here they show a little example. The design choice thus begins to creep into the realm of inconsistency by trying to both look like a different fluid while not acting as one. Steam implementation was an impossible situation. There were two proposed solutions: revert steam to showing as just hot water, or make steam its own fluid. And if these were the two decisions, I'm pretty happy they went with this one, even though it broke stuff, just because I think it's more interesting than just having hot water, which is essentially what we used to have with like the boiler and steam engine setups. So in the end, they decided on this one. They said it would be like a step backwards. The visual distinction of steam was a very useful indicator to the player. By making it a separate fluid, I could also complete my vision for the coal liquefaction recipe, and this is Clonin, I believe, who wrote this. Yeah. By making it require steam as an ingredient. So yeah, as of the latest patch, coal liquefaction now requires steam and heavy oil rather than water and heavy oil, which is, I think, an interesting component. I'm kind of indifferent to it because it's cool and different, I guess, and it adds a little bit more challenge and uniqueness because you have to make steam before you send it in, but it's not like super difficult to do. So I think it's fine. Like I said, I'm kind of indifferent to it. I think it's kind of cool and unique. However, one thing I'd like to mention with that is it does seem like potentially another case of inconsistency, and I'd love to hear your guys' thoughts on this as well down in the comments. Is like when Zuri and I were doing the latest workshop with the coal liquefaction build someone submitted, it kind of popped out at us more when we actually looked at the thing that now the liquefaction requires steam, but all the cracking and stuff requires water, which seems a bit inconsistent. Now, of course, I don't know anything about cracking or anything like that in real life, so I don't really know what the process is there. But in terms of in-game, it seems slightly inconsistent that like the liquefaction requires a steam, but then you have cracking, and if you implement cracking into the build, it requires water. It just seems like kind of strange. I feel like they should both require steam potentially. But I could be way off base, so I'd love to hear your thoughts there. It feels like it would just be more consistent and make a little more sense, but that could just be me. So just kind of a thought there of my own. Achievement changes. So essentially, they've just changed some stuff to make it a little less exploity with the achievements, because how it is now, what happens is that essentially you can get achievements by watching a replay of someone who's gotten the achievements, or by joining a multiplayer game where the achievements have been unlocked. Like once you join, you just complete the achievement. So, they kind of say, due to our deterministic gameplay requirements, our replay of a game has to replicate exactly what actions the player has performed. Any changes in game state between the game and the replay will make the replay invalid. So, of course, the conclusion to this is that if you watch a replay of someone earning an achievement, you will also earn that achievement. And then the same thing applied to multiplayer, where this was detrimental to new players who might just want to have a peek at another factory before diving in and experiencing the game. So, they would look at a multiplayer map, but as soon as they entered any achievements, everyone else on that map had completed, the new person joining just completes those achievements, and they don't have, a choice to to just do them themselves legitimately. So what they've done is now when you're playing on a multiplayer server, you will only earn achievements if you've played more than 50% of the total map. Now, there have been I was reading some discussions in the forum things here, in the forum discussion comments for this Friday Facts, but it seems like that could change to 10% of the time, or 20, or more than 50, or things like that, because it seemed like a little bit controversial as to that particular amount of time, and some other exploits with that. So we'll see what happens there. And then this last part is a bit of a shame. Developers needed, they have to say goodbye to Cuba, I think, Blue Cube on the forums. He was pretty active on the forums, a little Blue Cube icon. I think he was actually named Blue Cube as well. He decided to kind of go his own way after 5 years. That's a really long time. So he's been there since essentially the start, which is pretty crazy. It's a long time. So, he's working on his own ideas. They say he's currently spending his time working on open source CNC program. But now we'll be visiting the office every so often to play with our 3D printer. Man, I wish I could go mess with their 3D printer. That'd be pretty cool. But yeah, so due to this, along with some other personal changes, they have several desks open. If you're someone or someone interested, please refer to our job listing. So if you happen to be, or you happen to know someone who qualifies for in their jobs, I think they're looking for a senior game developer, which I believe is what Blue Cube was, and then a 3D artist. If you are interested in that, or someone who is, then go ahead and let them know. But there you go. Pretty uneventful Friday Facts. I'm not really sure what to expect. I mean, we had those science pack changes. I kind of suspect more changes to science. Just a hunch and stuff, and a few little hints that some of the devs in Will's chat have mentioned just very briefly, and just the general state of things really is that I think it's possible the science packs could change again. So just a quick little heads up there that don't expect them to stay as they are right now, at least until there's confirmation for a fact that they're going to stay this way. But yeah, that's pretty much it, guys. I know, not too eventful, but there it is. I'd love to hear your thoughts about the Steam and stuff down in the comments. And until next time, I look forward to seeing you all, and do take care.